I heard MySpace. I was like, oh, we're going to MySpace. You remember
No,
that?
that was a while ago. No, I'm all logged out, so I'm not gonna stress that. How did I get logged out? That's the question. Okay, well, we are officially we're live, dude.
Let's do it.
This has been a week in the making.
I've been ready for this. I've been waiting. I woke up excited.
That's awesome. I'm in the wrong page here.
No, you're good.
I am too, because it's a big deal, right? It's mindset. What I've experienced and from what we've learned in the similar books that we've read, um, it matters, and it matters in a big way. And I'm still trying to share this dang thing. Oh, I missed the button.
You're good. I was thinking about mindset. I've helped people with health and wellness over the past 15 and a half years as a full-time career. And I was thinking about that, like what makes somebody successful versus not successful in their overall long journey. And we can dig deeper into this, but while you're loading this up, I was thinking one of the best things I ever did in my health and wellness business helping people is I did a challenge. And I mean, it's aggressive, but we were reading 52 books a year, one book a week. And we read the clients that I was working with. We mostly listened to them on YouTube or Audible,
Right.
but we were listening to books on mindset and growth and nutrition, every topic that was just good, pouring into the brain. 52 books a year for 3 years. And I was thinking about that just like 10 minutes ago when you posed me that question. And I was like, man, that was probably the most success I ever had in helping people with their health and fitness as I gave them meal plans and workouts.
Right.
But it's because we were feeding and fueling our minds so consistently and together that it was just a beautiful thing.
Well, the reality is that it really doesn't matter if you're eating the cleanest, best food on the planet, if you're taking the best peptides, if you're drinking all the filtered water. All of that is going to be offset if you don't have the right space between your ears. And until you get that right space, you're doing yourself some good. But if you really want to maximize it, like, you've got to believe that you're going to get better. And there's nothing I cannot stand more on this planet than when a doctor says some stupid thing like you're never going to walk again or you're never going to ride a bike again. And people take that as like they're condemned, right? I've got two specific examples of that. Are very good friends of mine. One of them fell over on his bicycle and basically pushed the head of his femur in through his hip. And doctor, oh, you're never going to ride a bike again. Well, guess what? Brett rides a bike religiously now. Like,
that's awesome.
Another one just this morning. I saw this patient that 20 years ago, a doctor told him, a chiropractor had told him that, he couldn't do X, Y, and Z because of this. And I'm like, that's bull. Like, I looked at the x-rays. I'm like, you've been living your life for 20 years now in pain because this guy said this to you 20 years ago. Let's fix this.
Yeah.
So it's just those mindsets that people get trapped in. And the one specifically, I want to read specifically what I sent you from a gal. Her question to me was, have you had lots of success helping other people to stay away from things that sabotage their health goals?
Yeah, I like that question.
I do too. And that's really what I want to talk about. What my answer to her was, well, my reviews are full of those stories. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to get into the nitty gritty because I think people really, for whatever reason, don't think they deserve to have vitality. And it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't believe that God put us on this planet to be miserable our whole lives. Like, yes, there's challenges in our lives that are here to make us grow and to become better and to overcome. But I don't believe we're here to suffer for our entire life. Like, I think we're here to have joy. Yep. And to experience this world that God gave us. And he gave us these beautiful bodies that are designed to heal naturally.
Right.
And yeah, so I think it's important that we understand that we're all deserving of living and being healthy. Now, have we all treated our bodies with that type of respect? No. And I see too often people, you might be 100 pounds overweight, you might be 150 pounds overweight, you might be 50 pounds overweight, and it's, sometimes genetics can play a role, but it's your habit, it's your daily habits of how you treat yourself, what you put into your mouth. Consistently. The same thing with if someone were to do drugs, it's not going to be a surprise if they did drugs consistently for 5 years that you have really negative side effects. The same thing goes with poor nutrition, pounding Monster Energy drinks, eating chips every day, ice cream every day.
Peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah. Like those things are going to compound either for your favor or against you.
The way I've heard it said before is like every spoonful or forkful that you put in your mouth is going to either push you closer to your goals or pull you further away. And I think something you said is important is, God wants us to be happy. And there's plenty of scriptural references for that. And I don't think we really need to get into that other than they're there. And ultimately, that's why we're here on this earth, is to be happy and have joy. You said it perfectly. And people do get hung up on like, well, my problem's genetic. My parents had this. My grandmother had this. There's a very small percentage of conditions that are truly genetic. And let's talk about my wife's, for example. She has polycystic kidney disease.
Okay.
So her mom has a kidney transplant. She's got aunts and uncles that have kidney transplant. She has children that have the same issue. It is a genetic disease. However, there is plenty of research, and she's like walking, living proof that if you live certain lifestyles, that you can actually slow that disease process down. In the 8 years that I've been married to her, I don't think her kidneys have grown at all. We've seen her kidney function decline, and we've seen it recover to the point where her kidney function is actually better than mine by changing lifestyle and having the proper mindset and not letting that just like, oh, it's genetic, there's nothing I can do. Well, a big part of genetics is environment, and we ate what our parents ate, and we live like our parents lived. That's why I think it's so cool that you go work out with your dad every day. Like,
yeah, I love it.
That's amazing. Like, I hope my kids see what we do and follow our example, because sometimes habits are greater than genetics.
Yeah.
Genetics is the gun, environment's the trigger. And if you can change your environment, which starts with headspace, you're in a good place.
I love that. That's beautiful. Awesome. What have you seen? Like, I see people from time to time, like yo-yo, like, so I have someone specific I'm thinking about. I've never worked with them, but I see them come on Facebook, and they're probably around 400 pounds, and they're like, I need to lose this weight. They get all excited. They share about it. They're like, I'm going to do this. And yeah, as far as I've seen, they're not working with a doctor or anything, and that's okay. They just say they're going to change some habits and do it, but then it disappears, and I don't see anything for them for months, a year sometimes, and then comes back again. And it's like, okay, I'm here. I weigh 415 or whatever that is.
Right.
I'm going to do this. And I've seen that for 10 years. Why do you think that happens with people?
Food addiction.
Food addiction.
It's totally real. Like, if you look at very basic level, let's just talk about sugar. Mm-hmm. This is important because this affects mindset, and we know our neurochemistry and mindset all go hand in hand with each other. But until you actually accept the fact that there's an addiction problem there and start handling it like an addiction problem, it's not going to change. So sugar is often added to stuff for no other reason than to get you addicted to it. It fires the same neural pathways as cocaine and all the other illicit drugs, but our brains get just as addicted to the stuff. So I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. She's like, well, I just can't live without it. I'm like, yeah, because you're addicted to it. Well, I suppose I am. Yeah. There's no supposing here about everything you told me. You're addicted to sugar. And until you get your mind wrapped around that, nothing is going to change. Now, are there things that you can do? Yeah, absolutely there are. So sugar being the very base level, the ones that people aren't aware of is dairy. A lot of times, if they are sensitive to dairy, they're going to end up with a reaction to something called gliadomorphin, which is basically the same dopamine pathways as the other things we've talked about. And so dairy can be a trigger for them. But there's also other things like MSG, monosodium glutamate. You know what that is?
I don't.
It is an excitatory neurotoxin. It literally spins your brain up, and food companies will put that into their quote unquote food just to get your brain excited about it, so you keep buying it.
Wow.
So start looking at labels of your prepackaged foods. MSG's in there. So until you get rid of some of that stuff, like there's...
Man, I'm listening to you talking about what the food companies are doing with sugar, and I can't even pronounce what you just shared with me that excites.
MSG.
Okay, MSG. But it also happens, because this will really lead into some mindset as well. There's hundreds of millions, probably billions of dollars spent in algorithms on social media also to distract us from our goals, from our health and wellness goals, our spiritual goals. So it's like, I say life is not easy. If you want to grow yourself in your mind and find true happiness and joy in who you are as a person living on this earth, you're fighting a battle. You're fighting a battle with food companies that spend billions of dollars to make you feel, to make you overweight and full of inflammation, which is your brain's not going to function properly with that. And then we add social media on top of that, of just billions of dollars of like the top brains in the world on how do I hook this person, get them addicted so they keep scrolling.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have a battle to fight. And so you have to, I think, first of all, we have to realize that our phone is an addiction, social media is addiction, and our food is an addiction. And maybe too often we're like, oh, they're addicted to alcohol. Like they should be better than that. Or I can't believe they do drugs. They should be better than that. But then each of us could be just as equally addicted and damaging our spirit and our mindset at the same time.
It's the path of least resistance, right? If you follow the path of least resistance, those are the things that are going to hook you. Yeah. It's, the doom scrolling, the TV, the social media, the bad foods, all the way down through, pornography, drugs, etc. That's the path of least resistance. So how do you fight the path of least resistance? You have to actively fight it, right? So from a religious standpoint, what are we told that we need to do? Pray scriptures every day.
Yeah.
That's one fight. My point is, you have to work on it every day. Like you can't just, oh, here I am. And if you don't fight it, it's gonna take you. So, choose from the best books, actively read stuff. Don't just listen to, mindless stuff when you're in the car. You have to build these habits if you're going to build the right mindset.
Yeah. Let me share some with you. So I've built this pretty incredible life. I've worked from home for 15 years. I was just having a conversation with you. I work out with my dad every day. 8:30 to 10 is religious. I'm with my dad time. 7 to 8, I'm taking kids to school. Like I built this beautiful life. And it all resolved around switching my beliefs about myself and my mindset. Like I was a person that I served a mission for my church, and then I was playing music and I made some pretty, poor choices. I was just not doing everything that I was supposed to be doing that I taught. And I kind of felt this, I self-imposed guilt, right? I feel guilty that I'm living a life like this. And then that transformed into my dental lab career didn't work out. And then I'm working in a steel factory. I'm working 12 hours a day. I go in at 5 every day. I get out at 5 every day. My wife's dropping kids off at the babysitter. She's going to work the night shift. So we're barely getting by. And I just believed about myself. I was like, dude, if you would have just been a more righteous person or a better person, your life would be better. This is your punishment. It was a self-imposed punishment. You're going to live this where you grind your whole life because you've made some mistakes in your life. And it was just I started, it's funny. You mentioned something at the beginning of this. I met somebody And he was trying to bring us back to church. He was what in our religion was called a ward mission leader. We hadn't been to church for like 4 years or something since we've been married. He knocks on the door with a plate of brownies, so I let him come in. So he comes in, and we're chatting. He has 2 little girls. I have 2 little girls at the time. And he's just jacked. Like his biceps are bulging out of his t-shirt. Just has this positive energy, just this vibrancy about him. And I'm like, I was just so attracted to that in the way of like, man, I wish I felt like that. Yeah. And like I was overweight. Like my wife had babies, gained weight. I gained the weight with her. You know, I followed that path, and I'd never been really out of shape, but I was out of shape and really bad. And so I was like, what do I do, man? Like, I want to be jacked like that. And he played football for the University of Utah. He was a special teams coach. And he's like, well, step number 1 is the push diet. And I'm like, what's the push diet? He's like, you got to push the bad food away from you. No, don't eat it. And then he's like, and then you got to start exercising. So that's where my journey and my path started. I started exercising. But the most powerful thing, Brady, happened is I printed out from the movie Fight Club, one of the main guys, he just was this ripped 6-pack, printed it out, put it on the fridge, put it in my office, put it at work. And I'm like, I'm going to look like that. I made a decision. Like, I'm going to look like that. And then I was inspired by my friend and whatnot. So I looked at that every single day. In 90 days, I committed to, I went a little crazy. Like I did these P90X workouts. They were 60 to 90 minutes long. I rode my bike to work, and I worked at 5 a.m. And I just went all in. I cut out all the Gardettos, the energy drinks. I started packing my food to lunch. Nice. And I lost 39 pounds in 90 days, and I had abs. And I'd never had abs before. And I was just like, I felt so good. But here's where 2 things happened. That, like doing something hard and committing to myself increased my confidence. I was like, okay, you are capable of doing anything. If you can get up and do that every day, you can do anything. So that started to shift how I was seeing myself, because I was seeing myself as like, you've failed, people that love you, you've been a disappointment in some sort of way. So I started shifting how I looked at myself by doing that hard thing and following, not just doing it, but following through, saying, I'm doing this for 90 days. And then doing that built my confidence. But number 2, I was blessed enough at the time that was 2010. I didn't have social media on a phone. I had a little Nokia phone with an MP3 player. And I downloaded the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Millionaire Next Door, and a book called The Compound Effect. All 3 of those books. I've downloaded them on that little MP3 player in my Nokia phone. I worked 12-hour shifts. And Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is 10 hours and 55 minutes on audio. I could listen to that entire book in one work shift. So instead of listening, I played hardcore, like heavy metal music for a lot of my life. And so I listened to music for those 5 years, my first 5 years in that job. And I just switched that out for those books. And I listened to each of those books over 3 times, or all 3 of those books, I listened to them for about 60 times in 1 year.
Yeah. I'm typing out the list here. Yeah. Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Next Door. What was the 3rd one?
And The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Ooh, I haven't read that one yet. I'm going to get on that.
And it shifted all of the beliefs inside of me. Like I understood how to become the millionaire next door. I understood what it meant to how your thoughts change everything about who you are, your health and your wellness and your spirituality and your business growth and wealth. The craziest thing happened that year that I listened to those 3 books, 60 different times with no skills. And remember, before I ever did that workout, I had literally no confidence in myself about what I was capable of doing. I did that workout, started listening to those, started a business, and I built a business that within 14 months was earning me a 6-figure income. And I did that with no skills as an introvert, working a 12-hour work shift. So it wasn't doing these massive amount of action that helped me build that business. It was, I shifted the way that I saw myself and the way that I saw the actions and the habits that I do and how they would produce a result in my future if I just believed in it with unwavering faith and belief in myself and in what I was capable of doing. Listen to good books, pour them into your, there's wealth of information out there, but you got to be strategic about who do I listen to, what type of advice, and find those. So those books were a game changer for me.
That's awesome. That's going to make a huge difference. And the funny thing, Scott, is like, we're not just talking about wealth here. We're talking about just life in general. Like,
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich isn't just about money. It's about who you are as a person and how you picture yourself. And, if we put a neuroscience spin on this thing, it's all about what we call plasticity, which is basically, Napoleon Hill talks about your thoughts becoming your inner world, creating your outer world. From a neuro perspective, what you're doing is you're rewiring your brain, and you're rewiring it for success versus failure. So if you start thinking about success, whether it's financial, whether it's physical, whether it's in your relationships or whatever, if you're thinking about success, your brain will hardwire for that success through this thing called plasticity. It's real. It happens every day. I see it. You see it.
Yeah.
And the people listening to us, I want them to see it because it's amazing.
Yeah. I always, whether you come in and see Dr. Brady in his office and do some stem cells, or you do some peptides with him, like I always tell people, like when I'm chatting with someone on the phone or Zoom, or I meet them on social media, I'm like, man, if you never do anything with me, I want you to at least build some of these habits.
Right.
Pick up a good book, listen to this podcast, and start to shift and change the way that you see yourself. Like everybody's looking for the magic solution or the magic pill or the magic this or that. It's like stacking these daily habits of growing your mindset, believing in yourself, increasing your spirituality. Like when you said Think and Grow Rich, it made me think something. Someone told me to read that book. It took me 3 months where I'm like, I'm not going to read that. I don't need to be rich. Like it's never been a thing for me. But when I read it, I was like, it blew my mind about the way that Napoleon Hill talked about it.
Yeah.
And my idea of rich, my currency is peace. Like, and maybe I like this as well. I think it's the best currency in the world. It's not money. It's not material things. It's not a fancy fast car or a nice watch. Like currency to me is like, I want peace. Like I want to live a life where I'm at peace. I love myself. I don't care about, any judgments from the outside, that my family has as much peace as possible, that I wake up and I'm just like, I love my life. Like, I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be here on this earth. It's like just a miracle. And that's how I wake up. I tell my wife that all the time. I get into this place sometimes where I'll be laying in bed and it feels like I'm like in a twilight zone. I'm like, how are we even on this earth? This is really crazy. Like I believe I was put here. We were all put here by God, and we have a reason to be here. But sometimes I'm like, that's just so wild that we have a body that heals, that we wake up, that we have offspring that came from us and we're entrusted with. And it's just like, I think I've gotten to that place, just by taking that time to work on myself, to read good books, to take the time to journal, to meditate, to think. And I think too often we mentioned social media, we hop on and just scroll, and we're just bombarded with bad news and everybody's opinion about who's right, who's not right, this and that we don't take time to be like, okay, who am I? Why am I here? What's important to me? And then when you can focus on that, then you can go live your day in that way. And that could be with your nutrition. If you know that your health is important, you want to feel good, and you take the time to think about that, then you're going to make those better choices throughout the day. Same with if you're trying to get over pornography addiction or drinking addiction or whatever that might be. If you don't stop and slow down and work on yourself and understand what you actually want while you're here on this earth, you'll never figure that out. But so you got to slow down and do that, I think.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. Closing thoughts here, Scottie. I want to put you on the spot. Give me your top 3 podcasts.
Top 3 podcasts of who I listen to?
Yep.
Okay. So my number one, I use an app, but you can listen to him on a podcast or on social media. Brendan Bouchard. So I use his app called Growth Day. Like I paid for going to some of his big events, like online courses called High Performance Academy and Experts Academy.
Yep.
He's the author of the book.
Brendan Bouchard. The app?
Growth Day is the app.
Okay.
And then he's the author of a book called High Performance Habits. Like everything that I wish we could talk about in this short amount of time we've been here is in the high performance habits. He spent decades of research with neuroscientists and to what are the habits of being successful. That's number one. So Brendan Bouchard's podcast or any YouTube videos or his app. Second for me is Ed Milet. I absolutely love Ed Milet. He's and also he's in the Growth Day app too every Mondays. He works together with Brendan. So Ed Milet is my second. I just love the energy that he brings to, he talks about his love of God, talks about his father and the difference his father made, overcoming alcohol addiction and how many people he helped. So Ed Milet's podcast, I listen to that podcast every day during my workout. And then the third one would be one that I was introduced to by my wife, and it's going to be a surprising one. His name is Johnny Chang.
Okay.
He went to prison as a teenager, and he just talks about God and your relationship with God. And he spends so he has a podcast, but he spends his whole life like ministry. There's a cool documentary we just watched. He goes into prisons and he helps transform people, gets them in a relationship with God, which then in turn, they change all their other habits.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful Johnny Chang. You got to listen to him. We listen to, when Gabby drives my youngest two to school, they listen to Johnny Chang every morning on the drive to school. So
that's awesome.
There's my
all
three.
Right. I put all those in the comments. So I've got some work to do.
Yep.
Everyone listening has some work to do. Scottie, we got to start doing this more often, brother.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
So, all right. Sending much love, but we're going to go both get about our day. I'm sure my people are going to appreciate it. Now, given the time, not a lot of people hopped online with us here, but I'll get you the link to this so you can share it, and
awesome.
We'll rock and roll.
Okay, appreciate you, Brady. Thank you.
Thanks, Scottie. See you soon.